Good morning, everyone. So today we will be doing meditation for 1 hour. And after the 1 hour, during our usual discussion of 30 minutes, we'll be discussing about Vipassanā Ñāna, which I hope is going to be interesting to all of you, to grasp an understanding of where the Vipassana starts and what the Vipassana essentially entails in terms of data and experience. So let us get down to our meditation and start our practice for today. Right? If we all come into our meditating positions, into a comfortable position that we are able to continue throughout our practice, taking a deep breath in, holding on to the breath for a moment, letting go, relax, relax, relax. As you breathe out, gently letting go, letting go. Arriving fully into the present moment here and now. As you put aside all disturbances, responsibilities, and duties of the mundane world, and allow yourself to commit this hour to the noble practice, to going inwards, giving this time to yourself to separate from the outside world and focus upon the inside world. As you take another deep breath in, feeling the weight of the air as you hold on to the breath for a moment, and the tranquility and relaxation that comes about as you breathe out, slowly, gently, letting go of something you shouldn't have held on to in the first place. Just so letting go of all the burdens, the hindrances that you carry for this moment and existing within the present, connecting to the most wholesome, most realistic parts of your being. As you guide your attention gently to observe the breath, to observe the breath, to observe the breath. Observing the motions of the breath. How, like cause and effect, the breath triggers so many processes within the body. Seeing the body of the breath within the body itself. Taking away the self and just simply observing as an experience of the presence. Be here. Observe. Finding balance of mind and body, coexisting in perfect harmony. Emotions. Observe. 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 With every passing moment, giving up on the comparisons and the need of perfection and embracing the true nature of the world within, arising and passing away, arising and passing away, arising and passing away. Observe, observe. observing, observing. Seeing there is limitless opportunity within the present as you let go of the past and the future. Let go of all comparison of every nature and simply be with this present. You will find that you have absolutely everything that you need and require. Connect, observe, experience. finding balance within the present moment, a balance of effort, mindfulness, applied wisdom, allowing you to experience a deep state of samadhi, one-pointedness, concentration, right here, right now. Continue to be with breath, motions of the breath, as you endeavor to find this balance. Observe, observe. If the mind feels tired or a sense of monotony, this is a sign that you are in the future or the past. Simply take a deep breath in as you guide your attention to the present, where these feelings of monotony and boredom will disappear. Observe, observe. Gently, gently. Taking a deep breath in, being aware of your posture, letting go of the breath and tapping into all the loving kindness within your being, all the warmth of your heart that you could tap into, the potential of love within this present, inspired by the natures of impermanent suffering and non-self, existent in every corner of this universe that we live in. Taking another deep breath in, radiating, vibrating that loving kindness into each and every organic cell in this body and into every fiber of your mind, inspiring forgiveness, quenching the fires of lust and hate, understanding human nature. May we all be well and happy. May we all be well and happy. May we all be well and happy. Healing the relationships that we have with ourselves, with this body, with illness, with age, with the failings of the mind, with the shortcomings of our actions, body and speech, grounded in the understanding of human nature. Before we rise, we trip on stones, we get back up. Understanding that it is very much within human nature that we would sometimes fail in our morals and ethics. But the goodness within helps us to recover, to heal, to mend our actions, to turn a better leaf. Just as this is the reality for me and you, for you and I, this is the reality for all beings in this world, human, animal, organism. Connecting to this universal reality of impermanent suffering and non-self. Just as we might yearn for forgiveness for ourselves, let us forgive all those beings all across the world. Those actions made through the hindrances. This is human nature. The godliness within us is to forgive, to understand. Just as I might wish the best upon myself, may all beings all across the world, near and far, Be well and happy. Be well and happy. Be well and happy. Well and happy. Taking ourselves as example, health is the best of wealth. As we would endeavor to be healthy and wish for health in our lives, may all beings across the world be blessed with the same. May all beings be healthy. Be healthy. Be healthy. May all beings with a body, with consciousness, human, animal, ghouls and ghosts, deities, those whose abodes are beneath our feet and above our heads. May all those beings equally be well and happy. Be well and happy. Be well and happy. Well and happy. Taking a deep breath in, filling up the chest, minding the posture, breathing out, relaxing deeper and deeper. As the body relaxes, the mind relaxing even more deeply. Embracing the tranquility which comes from your actions of letting go and being in the moment. Taking another deep breath in, being aware of your surroundings, the feelings all across the body. Taking another deep breath in, deeper than the two before. Gently, gently, when you are ready, slowly opening your eyes and awakening into the present. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. All right, everyone. Now, the first Ñāna, or knowledge, with regards to Vipassanā. The first Ñāna with regards to Vipassanā is the Nama-Rūpa Pariccheda Ñāna. The Nama-Rūpa Pariccheda Ñāna symbolizes none other than Ditthi Vishuddhi. And whilst I state the word Ditthi Vishuddhi, it should arise in your mind that Sila Vishuddhi and Chitta Vishuddhi comes before Ditthi Vishuddhi in the 7 factors of enlightenment. Now, what is Ditthi Vishuddhi? I am directly going into or taking as reference the teachings of Mahasi Sayadaw, so that we base our knowledge and base our understanding of the subject with what a great teacher as Mahasi Sayadaw has spoken of. In my preparations to give you this extract of the meaning of Ditthi Vishuddhi, something that I picked up whilst going through the different references available on the internet is that certain references which are out there blur the lines between especially Nama-Rūpa Pariccheda Ñāna, Paccaya Pariggaha Ñāna, and Sammassana Ñāna, right? So this is something to sort of caution yourself, and also when you read something to just be mindful whether the clear distinctions between those Vipassanā Ñānas are made. And there is a clear distinction. There are no blurred lines, because that is the grace of our Dhamma, because it is so methodical, systematical, and the Dhamma is available in with such clear guidelines and such clear path. Now, what is Ditthi Vishuddhi? Just as the word would say, Ditthi Vishuddhi is a purification of view, right? Then what is the view, right? With regards to Nama-Rūpa Pariccheda Ñāna, which is another word for Ditthi Vishuddhi, clearly, with no doubt, the view here is the view of the operations of mind and matter. The view of the operations of mind and matter. Now, as an example, you are listening to me. I am speaking. To a mundane person who has no meditational, reflective knowledge or experience, this process, which has started at 10 o'clock and now it's 10:04, this process appears constant. Do you understand? Meaning, you hear, see, and also the mind intercepts and understand what is heard and seen, right? That's the way we go, isn't it? But to a person without this knowledge, he doesn't see or he does not experience the element of hearing, the element of seeing, the element of the mind. He sees a continuous process of cognition. Do you understand? That is the right opposite of Nama-Rūpa Pariccheda Ñāna. Do you understand? Right? That is the right opposite of Nama-Rūpa Pariccheda Ñāna. So then what is Nama-Rūpa Pariccheda Ñāna? Nama-Rūpa Pariccheda Ñāna is the ability to discern the operations of one element from the other in the collective process of living an experience. Do you understand? Right? So then, to quote, experiencing listening as listening, seeing as seeing, smelling as smelling, mind as the mind. This falls under the Nama-Rūpa Pariccheda Ñāna. Is that clear? Right? So, within this element, now remember, this is spoken of in the concept of Vipassanā. It's a Vipassanā Ñāna. And with Vipassanā Ñānas, it appears to us, it blooms in our mind like a lotus blooms out of the mud. right? That is the way. So this is, we are not taking a lotus and going and throwing it in the mud. We are allowing the lotus to bloom from the mud. That is how Vipassana arises, right? That is how Vipassana arises. So through meditative awareness, contemplation, which is wisdom, what we allow here is, or what we experience rather here is, this Vipassana discerning between one experience to another, taking away the aspect of self. Not completely. We do not assume that this happens completely because we know self persists. But we come to a realization, understanding that, for example, you are walking, you're going on your afternoon walk. You might see flowers, the gardens in front of people's houses, you know, the different colors, the different flowers, the different trees, all of these things, right? Now, when this Ñāna exists, what you will be able to differentiate or discern between is seeing. The action of seeing is one, and the action of the mind which now intercepts that object of seeing is another. Do you understand? Right? Now, the experience of breathing is one, and the mind which arises to intercept that experience of the breath is another. With regards to anapana, breathing meditation, the sensation that is experienced in the body is one, and the mind intercepting that data is another. Do you understand? The pleasant feeling that is experienced, let us say, across the face, and then the painful feeling experienced at the shoulders or at the thighs or the knees or the legs is another. Do you understand? If we go deeper with what we have learned in our Abhidhamma study, the prasada rupas, the function of the prasada rupa, the function of the mind, which takes the object that has been collected by the prasada rupa, and the function of the other bodily faculty resulting after the prasada rupas, these are all different, isn't it? Knowing that differentiation is Nama-Rūpa Pariccheda Ñāna. Do you understand? Right? So if we are able to, with the mind, right, with the mind, when we observe the mind, we go through many different emotions, sometimes with an object. Now, for example, let us take now this bottle that I'm recycling, you know. I promise you I did not drink this cream soda. I spilled it down the drain. But then I felt bad for throwing away the bottle, so I'm drinking water from it. Right? Now, when I see this bottle, right? When I see that bottle, at first, of course, you know, there are water bottles and then there's a recycled plastic bottle that I'm drinking out of, right? So the object is one, and the way that the mind interacts with that object can be many. Being able to, with our Abhidhamma knowledge, where we know there are sobhana chittas, there are akusala chittas, there are chittas rooted in equanimity, pleasant feeling, displeasure, all of that knowledge comes into practical awareness, into the practical awareness scope with regards to the object. Do you understand? Again, comes into the practical awareness scope. The scope of practical awareness. Then you are able to see, first when I observe the object, the bottle, it was only a bottle. Then I might think, oh gosh, this bottle might not look good, but I'm drinking out of it in front of all my classes, right? Now that's another thought. But that thought might be more rooted, not in sobana, but maybe in delusion or something else, right? The ability to discern between those mental processes also falls into the Nama-Rūpa Pariccheda Ñāna. Is that clear, everyone? What this Ñāna essentially entails is we come to understand the Vipassanā. The gist of the Vipassanā here is we understand that the body and the mind, the mind and the body is supported and is formulated by mind and body, not self. Do you understand? Now, all of you, I know, those of you who have the regulars, which is most of the people here, I know, have experienced this Ñāna to a certain extent. The levels are different, but you have most definitely experienced this Ñāna, right? You have most definitely experienced this Ñāna. So then, again, applying our both our Sutra knowledge and Abhidhamma knowledge, what we need to then understand is, okay, I have gained entry into this Ñāna. How do I now strengthen this Ñāna? Now, before I go there, is the definition clear? Is the definition, does anyone have any questions pertaining to the definition of which I've been doing since 10 to 10:14 now? Is the definition clear? Because if it is not, please ask, and I will be very happy to explain. Yes, Shriyani.
Bhante, what I experienced today was all the elements individually I experienced throughout the body. And then suddenly it all became one big mush and one experience. And I tried to experience separating Nama and Rūpa, and I couldn't separate the Nama and the Rūpa in this big evolution and the mash.
Okay, yes.
And then I realized Nama and Rūpa is the same, one thing. Is that right?
No, Nama and Rūpa is not one thing.
But
No.
I couldn't separate it. Why?
Yes. So when we go through, we must understand the context of the position that we are in, which is important, right? If it is a state of samadhi and if it is a state of vipassana, remember, we cannot push vipassana.
Yes, I do understand, yes.
Right? We cannot push vipassana. The simple thing that we have to focus on is keeping ourselves within the river, which flows only in one direction, which is the ocean. Do you understand?
Yes, yes.
Because, Shriyani, when we come and we do this, when we come into an experience, right? When we come into an experience, the interception of vitakka is a disturbance to that experience. With a finer hold, right? You cannot hold certain subtle phenomena in your hands. We need a different apparatus maybe to hold it, right? So if we attempt to hold something so fragile, fine, and subtle in our hands, we will lose it. You can't hold water in your hands for too long. You will lose. The water will leak and drain away, right? So the practice essentially is not to, when you're experiencing these positions, not to sort of now analytically define the experience, but to allow the experience to continue. That is where we have discussed the indriyas, remember, the sutra indriyas, right? Where we now develop the ability of gaining those powers, balance. When the balance exists, you will slowly, that is what happens. Now, many people through the weeks have mentioned within the class, I experience a sense of emptiness. Everything disappears, right? Everything disappears. But the moment vitakka arises, remember, the emptiness disappears. We've discussed this, I think, last week in our classes as well, in the meditation class, right? Why is this? Because the experience and the apparatus by which you try to measure the experience, there's a disparity, right? Now the challenge is at this position, and for many of you, the position becomes how to make the apparatus or bring the apparatus into the same level as the experience. Then the Vipassanā flourishes. Do you understand? So what do we need then? Balance, more balance. Yeah.
What I experienced, then I stay like that, and then it suddenly the whole experience came into one position, into my stomach, like. And I noticed then I was breathing with the mouth rather than through the nose. Now,
Shriyani, you might just break your words, what you're saying, into parts for better understanding. You mentioned you feel as if the mind and the body is the same. Right?
Yes.
Just like, remember, in the Vedana-Vipassana, we first thought the whole hand was numb, or there was sensation across the whole hand. And then we came to realize, no, sensations are arising and passing away so rapidly all across the hand. Earlier, we felt that the whole hand was experiencing a sensation, but now I realize it's small bits and parts of the hand that is experiencing sensation so rapidly that the whole hand seemed to be numb, but really it was not the case. The whole hand seemed to have that same sensation, but then you realize it was not the case. Now, do you understand? The mind and the body seem to be the same. I can't separate it, right? But the mind observed that focus upon the abdomen and the focus, what you felt as in Vedana or experience was body. The mind that focus upon that position is mind. That's the difference. Right? Is that clear? So simply, hold on, Mala.
Yeah, okay.
There is nothing more to do, Shriyani, here. And everyone else has nothing more to do there. Just ride it a bit more. And ride it a bit more, do it a bit more. Do not go into the analysis of it. The analysis, when the apparatus and the meditation experience are in par with each other, now you will be able to break it. Do you understand? So continue. Just simply continue.
Thank you, Bhante.
Huh?
Thank you.
Yes, Mala.
Bhante, you mentioned about for the Vipassana to flourish, to balance the process. I couldn't get it. What do you balance?
You balance what you balance. Okay, good question. What do you balance, or how do you balance? Now, the balancing or the ability to balance arises always try to sort of analyze it because we are in a process of learning. It's something that I've been always doing is, rather than analyzing from the present, I kind of compared what I did first earlier, maybe a week ago, or maybe a month ago or whatnot, and then what am I doing now, right? Then the clear balance of what the progress has been becomes clearer, right? So what do you balance? The ability to balance comes with awareness, right? Which I know is quite blur when you put it in that way, but the ability to balance comes with the awareness of the mind. What is present? What am I trying too hard? What am I trying too little? Am I bringing in wisdom? Is my all of those parts, the practical applications of those parts, and realizing the presence of those parts within my meditation. That is the importance of the recollection stage at the end of the meditation. The balance essentially comes only with that awareness, right? Sometimes when the awareness, when the experience is one and there exists the inability to be aware, with that fineness, then you're unable to reach a state of balance. What do you then do? Continue. Simply continue, ride the experience, allow the mindfulness, the awareness to flourish a little bit more, and then you come into a state of balance, working with the mind. The same thing happens with the nimitta, remember. The nimitta at first is like a cloudly figure in front of you. But as you gently work with the awareness, what happens is the nimitta forms, it concentrates itself. That is when the mind reaches a better understanding of the qualities and parts of the mind. Do you understand? When self becomes far removed from what it once was, and you gain a clearer understanding of this process through one major part which supports that process is the recollection part, where you recollect the aspects of your meditation practice at the end. That gives you a sense of what balance you require to further cultivate and develop. That's the only way I could think of defining it to you right now. Maybe I could think of a better way, but right now, that's the only way that I can think of defining it to you. Because remember, Mala, we discussed the Pancha Indriyas and the Pancha Balas, the faculties and then the powers. And we now have a bit of data with regards to hint at what should be balanced. But the thing is, how do I see this? How can I see the Indriyas is the question. You only see the Indriyas through experiential wisdom, right? You might try to apply your gross definitions, but gross definitions do not work to such subtle phenomena, right? It has to come through awareness. Is that understood? Mala, does that make sense?
Thank you, Bhante. I think I'll have to think about it. So it's the awareness which is the main thing. And you said when you're walking, having a walk, and you see a beautiful flower, and you said you see the flower, and then you said to think, sort of be aware of your feeling. Is that right?
No. Now that's the difference.
Yeah.
That's the difference between experiential wisdom and applied thought. This is not applied thought.
Okay.
Right? This This is when you see a flower, when the Nama-Rūpa Pariccheda Ñāna is embraced, when it is arisen and it is embraced, right? You know, now Mala, you and Damsari, you grow a lot, right? You know flowers, right? Now, if you might see some sort of fungus on a flower, because you know flowers or you grow your flowers and all of that, all of a sudden, you know, it might look nice or it might, look this way. But if you put a bit of this and a bit of that, that fungus will go away or that sort of bacteria will go away or whatever. That's Vipassanā. When knowledge is not applied, the knowledge is yours. You understand?
Yeah.
Right? So then when you see the flower, just as, for example, if a person is coughing, but the cough sounds a certain way, or just as, for example, when a doctor listens to the heartbeat, he or she knows, a person knows this is the difference between the heartbeat, right? We don't know that, right? You know it because that knowledge is yours.
Right.
Do you understand? That's
yes, Bhante, thank you.
That's the difference between Vitakka and Vipassanā. Right? Is that clear, Mara?
Thank you, Bhante. It makes sense now. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. So if we might come back, right? 2 minutes.
Bhante, can I have just one small question?
1 minute. 1 minute. Right? Let me just finish this. Right? Now I'm going to read to you. The meditator can distinguish between Nama and Rūpa with regards to the 5 senses as follows. 1, when seeing a form, the eyes and the color are Rūpa. When seeing a form, the eyes and the color are Rūpa. The consciousness of seeing is Nama. Understood? 2, when hearing a sound, the sound itself and the hearing are Rūpa. And consciousness of the hearing is Nama. Right? When smelling something, the smell itself and the nose are Rūpa. And the consciousness of the smell is Nama. When tasting something, the taste and the tongue are Rūpa, and the consciousness of taste is Nama. When touching something, whatever is cold, hot, soft, or hard to the touch is Rūpa, and the consciousness of contact is Nama. The question to ask yourself is, do I see this differentiation? Do you understand? That is Nama-Rūpa Pariccheda Ñāna. Remember, do not apply this, experience it. Right? Do not apply this, experience it. If you apply this, forget all of this. Forget all what I'm telling you, right? Just take the gist, the essence of the path and continue the meditation on your own. Do you understand? Then what happens is when you are differentiating in this way with regard to the 5 senses, the self becomes removed. The constant continuation becomes something that just dwindles away and you realize cause, effect, cause, effect, cause, effect. Do you understand, everyone? Yeah? Okay. Yes, Shriyani, do you still have a question?
Yeah. Yes, Bhante. Every time when you sit down for the Vipassana meditation, but last time when I sat down, it was a different experience. What I felt is like my all the Dhatu Manasikara came, and it's like my whole body disintegrated into sort of like dehydration, and then it's turned into form of powder, and then it's just disintegrated into the air. Now that was that last time, but this time it went into like a one big mush, and all they became mixed together. So do we experience each time a different type of sensations, or the same thing experience every time?
How long have you been seeing the disintegration? The part that you saw earlier, I'm referring to.
I seen it every time when I meditate. It's like a one element will disintegrate. That time it happened all together.
I don't want to comment on this, Shriani. Can you just continue?
Yeah.
Right? Can you just continue, please? And let me know. We can discuss this again next week. Take what we've discussed today and just continue. Take out the analytical part of it and just continue. Write it out. I don't want to comment about it as yet. Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah.
The only reason is I want to see how it persists. Right?
But I want to know, the last week experience is very different from this week experience.
That's fine. Just write.
Okay, right.
Take the same thing applies as a nimitta. Let it happen. Just write it.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Just write it. Remember the object and keep writing it. Continue what you're doing. Allow the focus to increase and let's see what happens. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Samantha.
Thank you, Bhante. So it's what Bhante, basically what Bhante is saying is, so we've got this body, mind and body, Nama-Rūpa, and which is operated by the 6 senses. So internal and external. So say later on, I want if Bhante could explain exactly what internal and external is. My understanding is maybe external is what outside objects that we're not in control of, and internal is the mind. So through the senses, I say a piece of salt is Rūpa, and my tongue, I need to have the mouth, the Rūpa, the tongue Rūpa. So the two contact each other, make contact through the senses. So it's that contact that gives me the consciousness, the nama, the sensation in the nama element. So that sensation then, through my experience, would say it's gives a perception of saltiness. I would say salty is because of my previous experience, I presume, or anyway, it'll be something not nice, not pleasant, maybe. So is that's the nama? Yeah. So sometimes in some situations, the consciousness is maybe it's not, if it's not pure, certain defilements might add things to it. Oh, I don't like this, and oh, I don't know, that maybe that's papancha. Then we're going to be going into bit extra papancha sort of thing. Is it something like that?
Yeah, just one clarification there. As we have studied in the Abhidhamma already, what happens in this process is nature, chitta, niyama. Do you understand? The law of consciousness, right? It is a part of the law of consciousness that the chitta vrittis arise, that they in the way that they do to take the object, right? It is a part of Chitta Niyama that the consciousness would arise after the Prasada Rupa has its object. And if the Prasada Rupa has its object, whenever the 4 conditions for a Rupa are fulfilled, Mansikara, Aloka, Prasada Rupa, and Sati? No, Mansikara, object. Object, Mansikara, Aloka, and Prasada Rupa. When these 4 are fulfilled, do you want me to repeat that in English?
Oh, yes, please. Yes, please. Yes.
Awareness, object, Prasada Rupa, which is the physical faculty, right? And light. When these 4 are present, there is an object. The eye. If it changes, light changes to sound and all of these things as you go around the body, right? When those 4 are present, the Prasada Rupa takes or has an object to cognize. That is niyama as well.
Yes.
Right? So when this arises, when the rupa arises, the nama arises. And there is a way when the nama arises, the rupa arises as well.
Yeah.
Conditioned by mind. When the mind is angry, when the mind is agitated, when you're feeling embarrassed, like when you're feeling embarrassed, your cheeks might turn red or your face might turn red, you see, right? Now, what is that? Because of nama, the conditions of rupa, the conditioned rupa, right? This is a niyama process, differentiating between now that nama, the rupa, and the nama is Nama-Rūpa, Pariccheda, Ñāna, right? So the sound and the rupa, which takes, for example, the sound, the eardrum, the sensitive phenomena, and the sound is rupa. The mind that takes that rupa and goes with it is nama.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Yes. Yes, Bhante. Yeah, that makes sense. Sorry, what's Pariccheda again? That meaning of the word Pariccheda
is to distinguish.
Distinguish. Lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pari is between 2.
Ah, yes.
Cheda is this cut.
I thought it was paragraphs. Pariccheda. That's what I thought, Bhante. Sorry.
Paragraph is if it's Pariccheda in Sinhala.
Oh,
So you say the funny thing. That is Nama. Yeah, that's fine. Pariccheda, that is in Sinhala. This is Pali, okay? Right. So Pari is between 2 and Cheda is this cut or differentiation. Right. So to distinguish is mean.
Lovely. Thank you, Bhante.
Okay. Lovely. Dil, we don't have much time. So
make it quick. Right. Just 2 things. The first thing is this, Bhante, when you're saying the eyes and the color is rupa, and the consciousness that sees it is nama. So the way of saying is actually the consciousness, what it means is awareness. So the awareness, and you say satimat kama, it's the awareness, which is the consciousness, which is the nama. So the way I see, I always have been looking at it, the eye and the color is the rupa, and the consciousness of seeing is the nama, which is the awareness, the satimat kama. Right. Yeah. The other thing I wanted, those 4 things, that eye sensitivity is the chakra-prasada. The visible object is the rupa.
No, hold on. Dil,
yeah.
Satimat Kama,
yeah.
Sati is nama.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
The whole process cannot be called Sati. Remember that.
Yeah, that's why it says Satimat Kama, not the whole process.
Yeah.
The nama part of That's right. So that eye do process you described, the eye sensitivity was the chakra-prasada, the visible object was the rupa-nama, the light is the aloka, and the attention is the manasikara. That's what you were describing to us, right? Explaining it in English. Thank you very much.
All right.
That was such a good talk. Thank you.
All right. Yes. So, so that is that. To end the session for today, I'm sorry for keeping you for 11 minutes extra, but let me have a couple more minutes, just 2. this is the concluding remark. In conclusion, in this Nama, the meditator realizes that the whole body is Rupa and the mind is Nama. Only Nama and Rupa exist. There is no being. That is why I mentioned to Samantha, niyamas, right? Niyamas. There is no being, no individual self, no I, no he, no she, etc. When sitting, the body and its movement are Nama. And the awareness of the sitting, the body and the Rupa, when sitting, the body and its movement is Rupa. And the awareness of the sitting is Nama. The act of standing is Rupa, and awareness of the standing is Nama. The act of walking is Rupa, and the awareness of walking is Nama. Do you understand? When you get better at it, now this is as we would experience it, but remember, we know we have a lot of data to bring all of this together, because we know there's consciousness before the act of walking, and then the act of walking, and then the knowing of the act of walking, which is Nama. So Nama-Rūpa, 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 Nama-Rūpa. That awareness. That awareness is Nama again. You see? That awareness is Nama again.
Yeah, that's awareness. When you say consciousness, that's awareness. That's what I was saying. Right. That's a moving thought.
Yeah, that awareness is Nama. That awareness is Nama. So when we think, right? When we think, that position, now we will not be seeing it as self or a whole act of life, but we will be seeing the cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect, the mutual conditioning and all the other conditioning that we'll be learning in Abhidhamma class tomorrow, right? So that is that. Nama-Rūpa Pariccheda Ñāna. Is that understood? Is that clear, everyone? Wonderful. So this is the close.
Bhante. Oh, sorry, Bhante.
Yes.
Could you just explain what that word niyama is again?
Niyama are the laws, Samantha.
Right, yeah.
Right? The law, how many niyamas? Chit niyama, bij niyama, uttu niyama. And what's the other niyama? What's the other niyama?
Dhamma niyama.
Kamma niyama, right? Kamma niyama. Right? So those are the niyamas. These niyamas, just like, for example, the process of photosynthesis, or the process of evaporation, the process of how sound travels, the process of how an atom, an electron, how that process happens. All of those processes comes down to laws, laws of existence, laws of the universe. These laws are not governed by any figure as we are taught in Dhamma. These laws are or operate in this manner because of the deep-rooted conditioning and connectedness of the whole entirety of the universe. Do you understand?
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Bhante. That's right.
You could always Google it as well, or look at the Vipassanā, or there are so many resources out there, Samantha. Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
So I've taken too much of time. I will see all of you, or most of you, tomorrow. And I will also share an extract from Mahasi Sayadaw's teachings on our WhatsApp group for your reference, right? Okay, but before I close the session, what I would encourage you and warn you is do not research too much into the Vipassanā Ñānas, right? take the gist of it and try to, because the more that you know about it, the more that you will try to implement it into your practice, which is going to be harmful to your practice, because now you will start imagining things, right? You'll start imagining and putting things into boxes that it is not in, right? So just take the gist of it, understand it, right? Try to say whether you're in that position, whether it is strong enough or if it is still weak or whatnot. And then with an understanding, you also know how to develop it and cultivate it, right? So approach with caution, okay? Take care, everyone. Have a lovely rest of the day and goodbye.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you,
I will upload the session on the website.
Thank you, Bhante. Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you.